Oh, hello, my dear, lovely people. I am the one, the only Penelope Bellows. Yes, my wonderful people, you are listening to my voice right now. You are the ones that will make the difference in this MMO multiverse election. Don't be fooled by Jism's words of fun parties, his fancy speaking, his cool hand signals. I hear he is forming an army of kobolds to invade the lovely world of Huddle. Oh, all those poor folks. I will be happy to send aid to them when he starts his invasion. Then there is that Maxon fellow. He is the one that claims to be against all purple Wookiees. Really? Well, if you read this week's article of this trash magazine, issue 69, it clearly shows a picture of said Maxon and a lavender Wookiee climbing into a hover car together in the shady town of Nashada. Shame. I mean, maybe the magazine is wrong, but I say pictures don't lie. As for the other two, well, I just say they're from EverQuest 2. And yes, I think that is enough said. Let me ask you this. People of the MMO multiverse, who's the more foolish? The fools or the fools that follow them? Anyway, my fair lovely voters, I am the one that will lead you into the new world of play. I promise less lag. I promise better graphics. I promise I will drag those devs into the altar of the player and I will make them kneel. Yes, a vote for Penelope Bellows is a vote for the players. So let's show them why we play. Let's show them how we play. Vote Bellows 2018. This message is paid for by and sponsored by those that work hard for Penelope Bellows and are always willing to please in one way or another.
This is RPMMO Radio.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
A podcast all about role-playing and MMORPGs.
I like what you got. Good job!
With your hosts, Ashen Phoenix, Sid, Jazz, Strafe, and Kishmas.
Everybody off. We need to go on a quick adventure.
Hello, role players! Welcome to RPMMO Radio. This is our 53rd episode. Favorite kind of bias. I, of course, am one of your hosts, Ashen Phoenix, and with me, as always, and unfortunately, is Jazz, Sib, and Strafe. How's everybody doing tonight?
Hey, howdy.
All right.
I'm here. Or I'm here. I can't speak for the other two.
I don't even know what you're talking about. Kishmas will be along hopefully later on tonight. He is unfortunately, it's a shame, you know, you hate to see it. He actually is trying to visit Australia, and we'll tell you a little later why that's actually going to be difficult for him. It's just basically a big waste of time. Yeah. You'll all find out later why. I know we have people in the audience that are from Australia. That guy Laza, Hunter 90, a few others.
The Truth Bob
Is also not from Australia.
I thought he was.
Well, you'll understand why when we get to the news section, why it's not possible for them to be from Australia. But that'll be later. You'll enjoy it. I know I did. So, appreciate everybody tuning in to RPMMO Radio. We do this every Saturday, 7 Central Time, over at twitch.tv/RPMMO Radio. You know, I don't know why anymore. I mean, just, it's habit now. Apparently people like it. I mean, we all kind of, I guess do we still have fun doing this? I don't.
If we could just get rid of that one guy that doesn't know how to work the show.
telling you always how to do things.
Yeah, the one that doesn't know how to get the
Always
recording
being bossy,
start.
demanding more for less pay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy, he's great. I love him. He's my favorite character on the show.
He's all right.
Yeah.
I hear he's pretty good looking, too. Yeah,
I wouldn't go that far.
240 pounds of bubblegum loving.
Oh, jeez.
It's just the shape of my body. It's kind of like when you chew up bubblegum and you spit it out. It's that sort of lumpy.
Where do you come up with this crap? Where do you come up with this crap? Seriously.
Just visual comparison. I mean,
Bubblegum loving.
yeah. Because, you know, it's like you get Big League Chew and you spit it out and it's like...
Okay, we can stop now.
That is a fat, lumpy mess right there. That
And how?
that is what I look like. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Well, appreciate everybody tuning in. Coughing to the microphone there for you. We do appreciate everybody that does tune in. We are also, of course, a podcast, which is why, you know, it's a radio podcast. It's done on the radio, but not really a radio, but it's a podcast, which you can find over at Apple Podcast, Android Podcast app, Spotify, Podbean, and wherever your local podcasts are sold. We also appreciate it if you, if you're on iTunes, give us a star review, an actual written review. Every little bit of that actually helps just across the board. There's something, they're called podcasts because iPods, get it? That's where they started and came from. So they kind of cycle throughout the system. So we actually got one a couple back on June 6th from Dreyer, who gave us 5 whole stars. Says here, the panel and host are great. It's an entertaining show. Not a role player, but an MMO fan. Fans of MMOs should give this one a listen. We appreciate that. Even as a non-role player, you're all right.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, when we try to be entertaining, we try to do the show for everybody, not just role players, even though we do talk about role playing. That is the main topic, and it is geared towards role players. So, but if you give that, we'll read it, even if it's good. We prefer 5 stars. So far, out of 3 reviews on iTunes, we've got 5 stars, which I think means we're at a total of 15 stars, which means if this was Mario 64, we can move on to the next world.
And checks in the mail.
Yeah, we don't we don't talk about the checks on the show.
Oh, okay.
Epic
I just want to
fail.
make sure they were getting paid.
Yeah, I can't. I don't pay you guys. I can't talk about paying the listeners. What? So,
Nothing.
but no, we appreciate and over on Twitch, if you want to give us a subscription, give us a like and a follow and all that stuff. We actually had one, or before the show started, Cog Whistle. Thank you for following us on Twitch. Appreciate that. If you want to have a Amazon Prime, if you want to throw your subscription at us. Otherwise, just a follow and a wink and a nod and a saying hello is more than enough. Yeah. So how's everybody doing? Everyone have a good week? Everyone staying nice and warm?
Yes, indeed, sir.
Yes,
I feel like you're asking the people, not us.
Feel like asking the people?
I feel like you're asking our
Listeners?
Yeah.
Well, see, that would be difficult.
I know, but they could
Because,
answer
they
some
could
Twitch.
type it out. Right. But, or they could call in. If you go over to rpmradio.com/discord,
Yeah.
join our our Discord channel, go to the caller waiting room where we have Rahanar, our call screener. We are that official that we have a call screener. I mean, how many other shows do you know that have call screeners? And we don't pay him either. Basically, this is where capitalism goes to die. I have actually made the communist utopia of New York come to life on a podcast.
Well, it's great doing
Good to know.
I've got everybody to work for free, just like Star Trek, without any pay. All right. High five. So,
Okay,
all
back
right.
to our question. How's everybody?
Yeah,
Sorry.
I mean, nobody answered, so it was just
Actually, Jazz and Strafade, and then I rudely interrupted. I'm sorry. So,
well, I
I'll
know
let
with Strafay, he's just lucky to be alive. You're in Texas, man. What is it now down there? 250 degrees in the shade?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
say it's a dry heat, but I'm down here in Enfield Swamp, part of Texas, so,
There's nowhere
humid.
in Texas that's a dry heat.
West Texas, bro.
You got that Gulf moisture coming up from the south, meeting up with the cold front and the high-pressure system coming in down north. We're looking for a couple storms today throughout the Texas region. Hey, how's the Tri-County area doing today? All right.
Oh my God.
I should have been a weatherman. Except for the part where I don't have any idea how weather works, meteorology or...
Well, I would hope that you would take a class in it and learn.
I was like, do any of them really know what they're doing?
It's true.
I mean,
That's
it's
a really good
guesstimation.
question. Sometimes
if
it
we're
doesn't
going
seem
off
to
the
be.
record of those around here...
I mean, they promised us rain for like 2 weeks, and we never got crap.
Yeah. We got a lot of it today. Hopefully, hopefully we won't actually get stormed on during the show, which is a real concern.
Ooh. I didn't think
Right
about
now
that.
it's sunny. I can see it on our official weather cam, or as I like to call it, the security camera outside to keep people from stealing my Halloween decorations in October.
Weather cam.
So,
That was good.
yeah, but yeah, it's been a fun week. It's been fun. So we got a pool. Anybody else?
I wish I had a pool.
Yeah, we didn't buy it. It was gifted to us, thankfully.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yes.
but it was fun putting up when it was 100 degrees outside.
Mm.
I'll
No, it
bet.
wasn't. No.
I lost 15 pounds. Yeah. In 4.5 hours.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Yeah. Pretty sure a few of them were organs. So with that, lovely idea. But yeah, give us a follow, give us a like, give us a subscribe. And with that, Jazz.
Uh-oh.
Jazz,
Yes,
you know what's coming.
I do.
Is it me?
That was so bad.
Well,
Holy crap.
when the joke presents itself. And to answer the question, it's not me. It's Jazz. Jazz is coming up next. Jazz,
Yes.
what have you been doing in role play?
Well, I got sick this week, so I'm just now getting my voice back. As you can probably tell, I don't sound as much like myself, and my voice is kind of cracky.
You do sound like one of those women that's at the Vegas bars all the time.
Yeah, I know.
I was gonna say a lounge singer.
Put it all
Yeah.
down on Black 13. Yeah. You remind me of my
Yeah.
fourth husband. He was a saint of a man.
Yep. So I had to deal with that, and I missed 2 days of work, which I
Ugh.
couldn't afford.
Right.
And used up my remaining PTO to stay home and die quietly in my room.
No, sweetie.
I do have a new computer this week, up and running and going beautifully, which is kind of nice because ESO is finally working smoothly. I think part of the problem was my processor.
Probably.
And so I did get some time because I was sick to role play more than I usually do. So, first, let's see, we'll start with Zasher this time around. Zasher last week fought and won his promotion. And he got his new armor this week on Monday evening after training. They mailed it to me. Sealy.
Right.
Sealy. I don't think he has it yet. But I got it all dyed and everything. And I have no idea when he's going to be promoted. And they're making OOC arrangements for him to take another test, a mystery test. But I see he hasn't been promoted yet, and I don't know when he will be. So he just has been doing his thing. I've been writing in his journal every day, trying to think of things that he's doing on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. And he's been working on his house because he bought a house, and he's been working on his house and working out as always, and looking for new horrors to entertain him. So that was really his week.
And for everybody to make sure that you heard that correctly, it was whores, not horses.
Horrors, since my voice is not cooperating.
I just want to make sure everybody knew that I didn't want them to mistake that you were thinking that he's got horses entertaining him, because that's
weird.
One is creepy enough as it is. One, super duper creepy.
Yeah.
I'll let you guys decide. Furries, I'm looking at you. I don't know which way you're going.
Anyway, on Sully, because I was on my characters more, I got some more RP on her. Sully continues into the realms of political maneuvering after the dust up last week, which I told everyone about. A mouth left in a huff and has been threatening to come after all of us and kill all of us. And so there's been this flurry of role play surrounding if she's going to be a threat or not, and what we're going to do about it or what we're not. And because now both Typhon and Sully are looking at not having mouths, because Sully's mouth is being promoted and was promoted Friday. She then had to interview a new mouth, and that happened last night. It was a lot of fun. And she also is working with the person that's going to be her new mouth on a new heart, because the person has a very unique situation, and she's trying to make it so that she can practice magic, because the heart that she currently has is run by Magicka. So if she does any magic, she drains her heart, and then she'll just die. So it's been kind of fun to come up with ways around that.
Kind of got the Iron Man thing going on there.
Yeah, I think so.
Little story.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting because Sully is trying to use what she knows about clockwork and all that to create basically two spheres turning inside each other to create a protective barrier around the heart, so that the Magicka runs the heart and is still able to function without.
Do you mean Dwemer stuff instead of clockwork?
Dwemer.
Q lady?
Well, it's
just saying.
Yes. Well, it's called the Clockwork City, so clockwork works.
That's, well,
I suppose.
The Clockwork City is actually from one of the Tribunals 3, which he likes the Dwemer stuff, but the Clockwork City is his own creation.
Right. Well, that's where her information is coming from. Yeah. She studied there, and so she's doing a lot with clockworks and trying to figure out how to make this work and to save the magic for the heart. And so it's been interesting because I had to read up on all this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, just don't try to building a giant metal mechanical god like the Dwemer did, and I think you'll be all right.
No. She's just trying to build basically a house for the heart, so that when she uses magic, she doesn't drain her own magicka.
That's how you get your entire race to be disappeared overnight.
Yeah, probably. But she's just, how the Dwemer are. So that was that, and so Falcaran advanced, and which was her mouth, and her new mouth it will be starting next week. Falcaran will promote up, and her new mouth will promote up, and it will all be fun. Let's see. Kia Karis is almost to the point of bursting with her pregnancy and is in lovely spirits. So she is officially locked in her house with her mate to wait for the coming child. She will not be around anymore. She won't be leaving her house until she has her kids. So she'll be gone at least 2 or 3 weeks in real time while she does that. So she was at this last meeting to kind of tie up loose ends. She interviewed some people, and they're in the process of trying to hire basically a new officer. So, which of course, as you can imagine, is both an OOC and an IC
gotta do both.
undertaking. So we're going to start the interview process. We're going to give questions I'm going to write up all the questions, and the officers will write up questions, and we'll figure which questions to present both OOC and IC to the person. And then once they answer all our questions, we vote. So it's going to be a very diplomatic and democratic process. It should be fun. Bringing in a new officer, or at least a sub officer, a second officer, to help run the shadow.
To do it like that, you got to do it on it. Sort of a, we'll see.
Yeah,
temporary.
We're going to put them in as a second officer initially. Let them kind of try out their ideas and see how they work, so we can see how they work before we give them full access to everything.
Yeah, probationary.
It'll be probably a probationary thing. Obviously, that's been the biggest thing for Kia Karis, I see, is talking with her officers and making sure that they're ready for this, that they support this, and at the same time, she's getting ready to go have a baby. So that will all start up once she has her kid and is back to work. As for my last tune that is in role play, that would be Cial, and she's still healing. I didn't get to play her at all. So she's just off screen healing and learning to walk again and getting more durable. So yay! That's it for me.
Spongy.
Yeah.
All right. We'll appreciate that. How about you, Sibs?
Me?
You.
Me? Okay. I mainly RP'd on Kilvin. Let's see. She actually got kind of, not a promotion, but she got offered a position to work under an acolyte, and she's a novice. So the matrix of the guild actually had suggested she apply for another one in Cregamore, but this one came along, and so she took it, and she's going to be working with a acolyte Rolls. I don't know if I'm saying his name right or not. And she's really excited about it. I'm excited about it because it's something different for me. I'll be taking all my reports and assignments from him, and whatever pilgrimages Kilvin does, he will be the one doing them. So I'm a little nervous, a little excited.
Yeah.
I look forward to it. The one main story I had for Kilvin is that her and her friend Timrel, they decided to go on a Gore ride, and so they started out in Deshan, and no, they started out in Ebonheart and were headed to Deshan, and it was a lot of fun. We kind of just went slow and chatted the whole way. Along the way, there was a part where he said you have to worry about bandits. And we were going across this bridge, and of course, 3 bandits come out, and it reminded me of the 3 Billy Goats Gruff. I don't know why, but it did. I think the bridge and then the 3 bandits. But so he defended her because Kilvin, she's clergy, and she knows how to do magic, but not like fighting. She has no fighting skills at all. That was one thing I didn't, when I made her, I didn't give her that. And so he defended her and him, and ended up killing all 3 of the bandits. But he got stabbed in the leg, and that was one thing she is good at, is healing. So she got to heal him, and it just was really nice to kind of hang out, and It was a fun little story. And anyway, they continued on their way, and he had took her to this really nice little spot, and they swam and just got to know each other more, and just real relaxing RP. Nothing,
Nothing way out
yeah,
there.
it's nothing scripted. I mean, when we RP together, it's just like, it is so random. I mean, anything can happen. Just like my fishing story, But it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, good. Good for you. And how about you, Strafay? What'd you
I didn't do much this week.
Oops.
But trying to find my script since we have to tell a story now.
I feel you, because that's what I was doing. I was like, slide my thing up.
So I played Kisdian, was it Monday night? attended Ordinator Boot and was selected for another to undergo Trial of Mercy. It's unclear if he succeeded or not, as he lost the duel. I blame the hacked roll system in the servant's Discord, because it's always epic fail for me.
Oh, that thing's the worst.
He put up a grand effort, but in the end, his cavalier attitude cost him the first hit. But did in essence make a mockery of the established serious demeanor lacking in humor that is the very reason he holds on to his bandit nature and charm. He then later experienced a bottle of Flynn that impacted his face from the now demoted, newly promoted... Oh, I see what you did there, you brat face. The newly demoted former commander of the Gold Hats. Rather than give in to his anger and get himself killed in the mess hall, Kisney instead restrained himself, dropped his eating kit and a drink, and departed to seek inebriation. Poetry Hour, Tuesday night, was again packed to the gills, had a good attendance, but the gathered seemed unwilling to participate and seemed to rather consume than join in the event. Anything other than that was small random roleplay events, one of which was Rufus dropping in on Sully after their Mushroom Kingdom meeting, chatting up a little bit, and then departing the same way he came in.
Yeah. And
that was me for the week. It was kind of burnt out.
Yeah, I kind of had the same thing. I didn't do a whole lot myself. So you had a lot of people come, but nobody participated?
Yeah, I mean, Sully did her thing.
Right.
Lady Bree did one. Trath did two of them. I believe Aves did a song.
Yeah, Steinrich did one.
Steinrich did one as well, and it was it's pretty slow. Other than that, he was like pulling teeth of the crowd.
Yeah. It's so funny because it's like either everybody has something they want to do, or everyone shows up
like
and
only you and one person have anything ready, and everyone else is like, well, where's the rest of my entertainment?
Yeah. It's really strange because one week you could have everybody wants to do one, and then the next week nobody wants to do one. It's really odd.
It's really hit or miss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at least they were there, I guess. That's something.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was not terrible.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Well, that sounds good. All right. Well, for me, I didn't do a whole lot this week. I had a funk week. I don't know what was wrong with my sinuses, but it just made me not want to do anything ever in the history of ever. I did do some roleplay. I was, did the stuff in EQ or EQ2, in ESO on Monday as well. But I don't. Oh, I remember what I did. It wasn't any fun because I don't know how to do this ice, so I just kind of got sidelined. Yeah, I was like, all right, well, here. I did, however, do some stuff on Zavala Sewell, which is my Star Trek Online character. So I'll just have her sort of read it. And, yeah, I know I'm doing a man, and it's a female. You're just going to have to use your imagination. So
I'm ready, bro. I'm ready.
Personal log, stardate 94571.9. The Herc invasion seems to be at an end. The time I spent aboard the Atlantis and with her crew was nice. It was good to be back on a ship. A bit different and much older ship, but, good. I visited Deep Space Nine and helped get her operational again. After the initial attack, she was a mess. The third pylon was completely trashed. It took several crews, both station and outside personnel from the 38th Fleet, as well as anyone in the sector willing to lend a hand to get it repaired. Being tactical, I worked primarily getting the systems fully operational and upgraded. Given the tiny little station was our first line of defense, Starfleet put more resources than anything I have ever seen to date. I imagine the days of the Dominion War were the only thing that might rival it, but that was long before my time. 20-hour shifts with wall-to-wall duties to take care of, keeping track of the duty roster for all those coming and going. It was utter chaos. I only helped, and, the real one put in charge of the area was Lieutenant Zach, who I've kind of become friends with, I think. He's very different and very dedicated. His way of talking is, let's let's say interesting, but I find it refreshingly cool, as he would say. Anyway, it's over for now. We were granted shore leave to Risa, as is customary for Deep Space 13, apparently. The real Risa this time, not the holodeck version we visited before. And I have to say, it is gorgeous. The people are amazing. The planet is just perfect everywhere you go. And the Mai Tais? I don't even know how many I've had. I got to speak with a few people from the station as well, and it's been good to get to know them outside of duties. One such was Tyler. He was asking me about being a Trill and being joined. A friend, Cyan, she's a young doctor I've actually met, is hopefully going to be selected, apparently. It was kind of sweet that he asked. I think he was concerned on how much her personality and individuality might change. It's a fair concern, but it's also kind of hard to explain. The more lives, the more it can shift. But at the heart of it, we're still who we were before the symbiont. Just, more. I wonder if he might be sweet on her, though. But, well, for now, I have a date with a surfboard and another Mai Tai. End log. So, there you go. That's what I did. And it's just easier. Can tell a story if I've already written it. Which you are welcome to do too. I do want to get to one other thing here. So that's what we've all been doing in roleplay. But there is one news story that came to my attention today. Apparently it's been circulating on the internet for quite some time, but for some reason it's recently popped back up. And I thought it was particularly apt, given we have some of these quote-unquote Australians, like Hunter 90 and, what was the other one? Just totally blanked on his name.
Austere.
Yeah, Austere, that guy Laza. I know we also have several others, because I know we've got more people that listen to Australia than just those two. I just don't know who you are, but the numbers know who you supposedly are. And I say supposedly because as we have recently learned from the fact-based people of the Flat Earth Society, that Australia doesn't actually exist. Anybody here? Have anybody heard that before? That it's just a giant hoax? Right.
Yeah.
All right, so let me explain this to you. For those of you that believe in Australia, like idiots. Australia was created originally by the colonizers, or as we like to call them, the English. They didn't actually take and colonize Australia as a prison camp, as a massive continental prison camp. What they actually did was just throw them overboard and then turn back and come home. And to cover up this genocide, this monumental murder of thousands upon thousands of criminals, is that they created a continent that was also conveniently its own country. I mean, have we heard of that anywhere else in the world? Any other countries and continents that all exist as one solid thing? No, we haven't. You know why? Because it's made up. That's why. So, as it comes out, they tracked the original post down to 2016. I'm gonna quote a little bit of this because this affects all of us. We've all, quote unquote, role played with Australians. Or have we? I know Hugh Jackman is part of this conspiracy. He pretends to be Australian, but can anybody that sings like that really be from a land where everything can kill you? I don't think so. He's a great Wolverine. So most of you have probably been, this is from the article, most of you have probably been brought up believing in the imaginary land called Australia. Phobia. I bet many of you learned about it in school, and I'm here to tell you the truth. Well, the fact is that Australia doesn't really exist. Everything you've ever heard about it was made up, and any pictures you have seen were faked by the government. I don't know which government. It just says the government. I mean, I assume it's got to be all the governments because originally it was just Britain and the English, and now it's all of us that now supposedly believe in this made-up continent, so it's a world conspiracy. I'm sure you have even talked to people on the internet who have claimed to be from Australia. Because you remember when this started, when they created this fake continent, back when the British were taking sailing ships over to this made-up land and throwing their people overboard. Remember when the internet was alive back then? You guys remember that? Back in, what was that, the late 1800s, early 1900s, something like that? Guys, anybody? You know, you remember when the internet was around, like, what, 100, 150 years ago?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah, totally.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Didn't
obviously.
include, like, rocks and sticks and...
No, you're just making fun of it. No, I don't need that kind of negativity. But, you know, they claim to be from Australia. They're really what these people are, like the Truth, not the Truth Bob, I almost did what Straffe did. That guy Laza and Hunter 90, they're really secret government agents who are surfing the internet to enforce these false beliefs.
Oh my gosh.
Now, we're not entirely sure why the government made up this imaginary continent or why it is.
Hang on, Ashton. I got to readjust my tinfoil hat.
Okay,
all right, I'm
you
good.
got it.
I'm good.
You need to add an extra layer to that.
I already did. No, I put Reynolds on there. It's good.
Okay. Oh wow. Yeah, you got the heavy duty stuff. We use that when
That's
we make
right.
potatoes. It also keeps the aliens from reading the potatoes' brainwaves.
You guys are so funny.
So, we're not entirely sure why the government... Sorry. This is a very serious thing here. I don't mean to laugh in the middle of it as if I'm mocking it. We're not entirely sure why the government made up an imaginary continent or why it is trying to convince the world that the continent is real. But we can tell you that we know for a fact that Australia really doesn't exist. So, for all those people out there, for all of the donations that guy Lazarus has given us since the start of our Patreon, I want to know why the government is giving our show money.
Ooh.
Yeah. What is it they're after? What are they? You can't buy us, government man. Yeah. Okay. This show is pure, I guess. I don't know. I really don't really have.
Not with you on it. Don't go to Pure.
That's just hurtful. True, but hurtful.
See, I'm
they
showing
often
I'm not,
say that the truth
I'm not
hurts.
biased towards you.
No, you're not biased towards me. So, yeah, and they've got big celebrities like Hugh Jackman and stuff like that. Clearly, they're government agents placed in there to keep us thinking of this false narrative of Australia. And I think it was just time for everybody out there. We role play with so many of these quote unquote Australians. I didn't think I could. I mean, we have this platform here. We have a listening audience of people. Intelligent people who have believed this lie for so long. And you guys need to put a stop to it. Next time you meet an Australian, you tell them, hello, FBI man, or MS-13, or no wait, MS-13, that's the Mexican cartel gang.
That would be
Run
a
away
cartel
from
gang.
run away from those guys. MI6. You guys really need to start making up like words instead of acronyms all the time. The James Bond people, those guys are all part of it. Why do you think the Australian accent is so easily done by English people? Right?
Uh-huh.
So, all right. Well, I wanted to bring that to everyone's attention. Everyone, Jazz, you sound like you've got a lot of heavy thoughts on this one.
Yeah, the sad part is that I know that there are some people out there who would honestly believe this.
Well, that sounds like someone that wouldn't believe this. It sounds like you're making fun of this, Jazz.
It might be.
Are you not
just a little?
Are you not taking this seriously?
No, not really.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, hold on. Yeah, guys, add her to the watch list. Yeah, she already knows. She knows. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, Jazz, if the next 10 to 15 minutes you hear a knock on your door, we ask that you personally go and answer it instead of that of your children.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All
Got
right,
it.
good.
Got it. Yeah.
So, all right. Well, now we know Australians don't exist. Like all those times, have anyone seen a kangaroo in a zoo? Animatronic.
Yes.
It's Disney technology. Remember when Abraham Lincoln stood up? Remember
Can
all the
I-
presidents, all animatronic.
Can I just ask, what about the emus?
Emus?
Yeah.
They're just honestly, what's really sad about the emu thing, They're just retarded ostriches.
Oh.
Yeah, they're from Africa. They're just like the one. They're like the mule. They're like when a donkey and a horse do it, and we get a mule that can't reproduce. That's basically what happens with ostriches. They're just like the redheaded stepchildren. Yeah. And Foster's, yes. Nemesis Rising in the chat says, "What about Foster's beer?" It's made up. It's a deep state controversy or cover up. It's actually produced, funny enough, Norway. Yeah, they make it in Norway. They just stamp Australia for beer. Yeah, all those Crocodile Dundee movies, that was just part of the cover up. It was all filmed in Arizona on a soundstage. Same one they used for the moon landing, actually.
Boy, that's a really versatile state.
It is. It's a very. You're making it sound like I'm not taking this seriously, Jazz, and I really don't appreciate that. You're you're offending all the nut jobs out there.
Darn.
Yeah. So I just wanted to let all the role players out there know about this. To be, forewarned is to be forearmed. Or forearmed is to be forewarned. It just depends on if you're from Texas or not. It kind of goes both ways, right?
Oh, speaking of Texas,
Right.
I had a very funny moment that I need to say before I forget. So
Okay.
I was driving.
Jazz's very funny moment brought to you by Jazz.
I was at the Walmart shopping for school supplies for my kids, which, by the way,
God bless you.
my God.
Yeah.
And on my way out, I was so happy to be back in my car. And my boys were all a little stunned silent because they've never been in something like that before. So that was interesting. I said, that was called a feeding frenzy, and we're never doing that again.
Oh, was everybody in there all at once? So
Everybody was there. And to make it even more fun, my school system for my kids was the only school system that didn't have a list. I had to look it up on my phone. I was a little annoyed at that.
Well, they were saving trees, Jazz.
Oh, I was so freaking pissed. And I used my phone.
Yellowstone, I need a list.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, are you kidding me? Yeah, so we were on our way back out, and this guy came down the wrong way. So you know how you have to go a certain way to park because
Right.
that's the parking, right? Well, he
Those
came
arrows
down
are
the
suggestions.
wrong way. Right. And so basically, I'm backing out, and he's coming right at me. And he flips me off, gets on his horn, shouts a bunch of obscenities out his door, and keeps going. And I stopped my car. I didn't hit him. And my boys were like, why is he honking and swearing at us? He's the idiot going the wrong way. Like, I don't know, baby. And the guy that was walking was walking into the store at that moment was like, well, he's from Texas. That explains everything.
That's fake news. Frack y'all.
And I thought it was you, Strafe. So it was
You
really
thought of
funny.
me driving down the wrong side of the
No,
road.
just because it was from Texas. I don't think you would do that.
No. GW stands up for that guy. That guy right there, that's his American right to go the wrong way. That's right.
If that old boy's up in Iowa, he's kind of lost, and he needs to stay lost.
Yeah. Sounds like he
Yeah.
doesn't. Yeah.
Drive up that
I
far.
don't know.
I
You
mean, he's
drive that
from,
far up into Canada, you deserve to be driving on the wrong side of
if
the road.
he's up into Canada.
They're hilarious.
That's right, man.
But I mean,
Anything
he's
north
from
of Oklahoma, man.
let's be honest, guys. He's from Texas. He should know how a Walmart parking lot works.
Oh. Jeez.
Ouch.
Hey, I've delivered
mean-
mail to a Walmart in Oklahoma. It's the same state. I can say that. The fact that there aren't red smears in front of the door because people leaving a Walmart don't look left and right and just dart into traffic is a miracle and proof of God's existence.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that. Sometimes it's amazing. I just keep waiting for somebody to just get hit. They don't even look. They just waltz right out of those doors in front of everybody. Yep.
Everybody's got to have their China Direct, man.
That's right. Hey, those China plates, those are classy. You could reuse those if you don't put too much stuff on them.
Know about Chinette?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good stuff. All right, so with that, this has been Jazz's Weird Ass Story of the Week, brought to you by Jazz, and also condoms. Condoms. They keep you from having to buy school shopping.
School supplies, not shopping.
Oh, she's still got to buy clothes.
Yeah. I haven't done that yet. I have to buy 2 size 16 pairs of shoes for my 2 boys. And the school thinks I'm going to buy an extra pair for them to go to PE in. I already called and left a message with the director's guy. I was like, I'm paying $86 for a pair of shoes for my son because he wears size 16s and you're high if you think I'm going to buy 2 pair. So he's just going to have to use or go socks because that's the only way this is going to happen. He didn't respond. Not a surprise. He doesn't like me anyway.
Who would have thought?
Why do they require if you buy 1 pair of tennis shoes? Why can't they use them for gym or PE?
Because they scratch the gym floors.
Yeah, you can't have the ones that make black marks on the floor because God knows those don't come up. They do. So,
yeah, they do. They totally do. They buff right out. But,
all right. So with that, before we get into our main topic, of course, we're going to go back into also having our advertisements. We're going to do, from now on, we're going to do one political ad at the start of each show, and then one of our regular advertisements, because we still have to find a way to pay for this outside of our generous and amazing, handsome, good-looking, and often sexy Patreon donors. So without that further ado, then, with that, let's go to our advertisement of the week. Crikey! Hello there. I'm here in the imaginary land of Australia, where everything here's gonna kill you. That's right. But that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to tell you about the new spreading sensation that's sweeping our nation, coming to a shore near you. We all know you love our Tim Tam, our Wheatbacks, our Emu Burgers, and our Vegemite. Now prepare yourself for the newest sensation, Bias. That's right. It's the new Aussie creation made with the very essence of what makes Australians and Australia the most deadly place on earth. Our side, outside of your mother's knickers. So, what is it made out of, you ask? I'm glad you asked that. Strange man, that sounds exactly like me. It's made of the most deadly animals from across the country crammed into a single cracker. The heart of a box jelly, the honey of the colonizers' bees, just a shaving of a Rukanji jellyfish, the fin of a bull shark, the ground fangs of an eastern brown snake, the tongue of an Australian croc, legs of a Sydney funnel spider, the ink of a blue-ringed octopus, just for a dash of colour. And lastly, every batch has the poison of a coastal taipan and a death adder, just for that extra bit of kick. It's standing right there, it is. Bit of Vegemite on that. It'll go down smooth. Just like visiting Australia, every cracker has a decent chance of killing you. So look for our new Bias crackers today. It may not kill you, but it sure as hell gonna try. Believe it. That sounds delicious.
Better get some of that show, man.
Yeah. That seems like it would be really expensive to put that many ingredients in a single cracker.
Agreed.
Yeah. Anyone actually ever had Vegemite?
I have.
Yeah, a long time ago. It was all right.
It is awful.
I've heard it's really bad.
It is
I've
awful.
never tried it.
It's
I
It's
didn't
not my
think it
first
was
choice.
so bad.
It's edible.
all right.
I
Well,
didn't
Jazz
think
has
it
no
was that
taste
bad.
buds. Yeah, I
thought
remember
it was
that.
pretty good.
That was one of those school things. It's like, everybody's gonna try stuff from different cultures. Here, have some Vegemite. Ugh, other cultures are the worst. Ugh. America.
Guaranteed.
All right, so with that, now that we're halfway through the show, right on schedule, Insomniac, by the way, never try Vegemite. Don't do it. It's a trap. Tofu is good, especially in miso soup, yes. So with that, let's go and talk about some bias in roleplay and versus favoritism. It happens Everybody ever not have bias in role play?
Oh, it's always there by nature, really.
Right, in everything.
you
Politics,
got
TV
people-
shows.
Marriage.
You got people, you got bias, man. Yeah, it's funny.
Sorry.
Are you sure?
Are you asking me?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because I know I'm always biased to myself over you.
Oh,
That's what I'm
okay.
saying.
That's
Okay.
I was wanting to make sure that it wasn't the other way around.
See how that works?
I see how that
Mhm.
works. But like Jazz says, bias in its very nature actually isn't a bad thing, and because everybody has bias, we're all biased towards something. We all have, we have favorite relatives, friends, role players, children.
No, not children.
Uh-huh. In your heart
I
of heart,
don't.
in your heart of hearts, you just keep telling yourself that. Boys, if you're listening to this show right now, Mom loves each and every one of you equally. Wink, wink. You know who you
Mom
are.
does it.
Stop.
I like the way my mom does it. She divides it up in two. She'll never admit who her favorite is, but she'll lean over to you and say, "I've had you to love the longest," and she'll give you a wink, and then that's it. It's like, all right,
I've had you to love. See,
Christmas is looking great.
That's right. Yeah. But also, like foods, Sibs being sushi. She's very biased towards sushi.
I am.
Chocolate.
Chocolate's another apparently popular one about females.
You can literally put chocolate on anything, and I'll probably try it.
Actually, we have this new bias cracker. You're willing to test that theory?
I even tried crickets coated in chocolate. So there's chocolate on it. I'll try it.
Hey, Jay, you hear that? If you put chocolate on something, she'll put it in her mouth.
Yeah, he already knows that.
Oh, beat me to the joke.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right. So, but like we're saying, everybody has bias. It's okay. That's just how life is. Like, if you don't have bias, you're kind of probably, as we did from our previous show, you're probably a sociopath and have no actual feelings. You should have that looked at. But everyone, it gets such a bad rap. Like, everyone thinks, oh, you have bias. You're like political bias and stuff like that. Political bias for individuals, bad. Bias in your news reporting, good. And bias in your news reporting, bad.
Yes.
You're supposed to be unbiased when you're a journalist, which I don't think they teach anymore.
I don't think anybody really can be totally unbiased,
No,
but you can
but
certainly make your reporting unbiased,
Right.
even if you're not.
You could ignore the part where you put in your 2 cents at the end when it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. But really, it's not the villain. It's not the bad guy. Like I said, see politics, see your sports teams. Sports teams they definitely have bias in that. It's in everything around us. It's part of our human nature. Where bias can go bad is when bias turns to favoritism. And favoritism is when bias goes to the dark side. And someone added the favorite. I don't know why that's in there.
Yeah.
I added the favorite.
Yeah, I figured it was.
Yeah.
true.
I think that's probably really true.
Yeah. And this came about from a conversation I had, a couple weeks ago. And it made me really, really think on the difference between the two. And I was like, that's really something to go into. Because we've done the thing on, like, clicks and stuff like that before, which there's definitely a bias. But that definitely, I think, leans more towards the bias towards favoritism kind of a thing of the two of them, where you've just got the people you want, and to the point where you'll exclude any and everyone else around it and be rude to and hateful to them. And that, of course, is not good. That's why clicks are, they're just like bias. They're kind of something that happens, but there's good and there's bad ways to deal with it. Excuse me.
Throw up on the show, why don't you?
But with favoritism, it's when you take your bias of liking something or someone, and you start beginning to exclude others in favor of that. Like you said, with clicks and stuff like that, you'll start overlooking things someone else would probably get in trouble for. You skip rules. You give them more leniency than you would to other people with those things. And this is where there's two problems where bias and favoritism can come in. One of them is not a big deal. When you're just a player in a guild, or you're just, you have no real like authority. You're not like a guild leader, an officer. Having your favorite role player partners and things like that, and you have bias towards them. There's really not too much wrong with that, because there's nothing. If something comes up, what can you do about it? I mean, you can help defend them, but you can't like pinpoint and go after people. But if you're an officer or a guild leader, and you're, we still obviously, we always, I mean, let's be, no officer has ever been like, I love everybody in my guild equally. They're all fantastic.
Sorry.
Cue sarcastic laughter. It doesn't exist. There's no such thing as that, but
No.
But you're going to have, even as a guild leader and things like that, like, you have.
I've always had my
role play with
players that I do enjoy role playing with over others. I do have people that I like the way they think. I like the way they create role play over other people.
Mm-hmm.
But
and that's fine.
I don't purposely protect them from consequences just because I like them.
Right.
And that's fine. That's what favoritism.
And then you don't target other people in your guild because they don't do what so and so would do.
Just because someone's new in the guild and you're purposely just being a dick to them because you can, that's favoritism. And that's can be very damaging to roleplay.
In some guilds they have like a hazing process, and here's the thing. Like if you're doing that to everybody that's kind of new to the guild, one of the things that Vagabond Knights, which is a guild in EverQuest 2. They had it was a softcore hazing, I guess you could say, but they have they had a tradition. I don't think they're around anymore because I don't think anything is in EQ2, so I can give this secret away now. But they had a tradition where they built this big RP event up for everybody, every new person in the guild. It was always a big secret that was never leaked in character or out of character to the new people. Where they had to do it was something where they had to infiltrate, because they were on the good guy side in Kinos, and they had to do something to infiltrate the evil city of Freeport. And they built it up, and it made people nervous and excited, and it turned out that basically you just went to the nearest guard and they did like /moon to them, and they slapped their butt in front of the guy and then ran off giggling. It was your favorite remembers that. But it was that they did that to everybody. And it was obviously, in that case, it's harmless. But there are people that will start hazing people that are new just because for some reason they don't like them. Maybe they don't role play the way they do. Maybe they're slow typers. Maybe their grammar's not great. I don't know what. Whatever reason somebody does something like that. And it's fine not to like somebody. I mean, there's plenty of people in all the guilds I'm in that I don't like. That I just like, man, you're a fucking moron. And so I just avoid them. I don't go after them because they're not worth my time. Why would I, why would you waste your time with that? What kind of it's like people that attack someone for having views on the internet. It's that old saying that even when you win an argument on the internet, it's like winning the Special Olympics. You're still retarded.
Well, one way to cope with the bias, if you're getting it in a guild, and I've done this before, is you just start trolling, and you be a good-natured troll within the guild, and just be friendly to those that will talk to you. And eventually, that officer, he or she will, pretty much show their cards, and then command above them will be like, "Hey, man, what's going on here?" Not always, but sometimes it works.
Yeah. Yeah, but, and sometimes maybe it's the trolling that starts it, too, though. So it's kind of a two-edged sword, It
is.
But, giving back what they give it's not personally the way I would go about it, man. But you do you.
Hey, man. Sometimes you just got to be that troll from a little swamp.
Yeah. Yeah. So, about that, I hate swamp zones, so I don't go near there. Like, hands down, I hate every swamp zone. I think I've said that before on the show. I just hate swamp zones. But, it's like, there's a vast difference between doing it as an officer and doing it as just a character, or just a member, not a character. We're all characters, but as a member of the guild, and that's fine.
Well, that's why I said be a good-natured troll. So you're
Right?
Not really...
Yeah. You and I think we have opposing different views on that. I just don't think trolling anybody ever when you're in role play is the way to go. To be honest with you, I don't think it gets you where you want to, or it doesn't. It's not how I do it.
I'm not talking about targeting somebody. I'm just saying,
I know
be
you're
humorous and be
Yeah,
friendly to those who want to talk to you.
I think the way you use troll is not the way I think of troll. There's nothing positive about trolling to me. It's all negative. So that's why every time you use that, it automatically makes me think that's not the way to go.
Well, I can't help your definitions, bro.
You know what?
I can't say,
you know what? It's bad enough that you assumed my gender earlier today. Now you're trying to change my language. This is what I expect from you.
I don't care what you think, bro. I still love you. But I don't care what you think.
See, this is what I'm talking about.
Ozzy.
See, this is what I'm saying. Before earlier, he said I was a good man. Now he doesn't care what I think.
He's a good dude.
Now I'm a dude.
So
oh my God! Everybody heard it. Everybody heard it. I love you, brother.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
just be kind, be friendly,
kill them with kindness.
Clown. And kill them with kindness. That's what I really meant. I don't mean like troll somebody to the nth degree. I just mean just be a goofball, and eventually you'll win them over.
And yes, cops categorically hatred of swamp zones, and like every game I've ever been in, I hate them all. From EverQuest 2 to World of Warcraft to ESO, I cannot stand those zones at all. I don't know why.
Really?
It doesn't hurt that they make those zones, everything creeping, crawling, and moving wants to kill you. So
yeah, and it's hard to see, and I just don't like. I did never like swamp zones. From EverQuest 1 to 2 to Guild Wars 2, and what was the BDO? No, just hate all swamps. I hate swamp zones. Yeah,
it's a good place to hide if you're a Jedi Master. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you would know that. But yeah, I don't know why. Can't. It's like my hatred of halflings. There's a reason for that. I just don't have to share it.
You actually have a reason? Because I'm pretty sure there's no reason.
You would think that.
Are you judging her now? What's going on?
Oh, man, I always judge her. I mean,
Judge who?
Jazz.
Me.
Oh.
Yeah, look at me. I'm judging her. Jazz, can you feel it?
Yeah, I can.
My judge rays.
Well, I mean, if it's a guild that you generally have friends in, and it's just the command, I mean, you can eventually work around it. If not, just talk to another officer. Be like, hey, I feel like, some stuff is going on.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to ruffle feathers, but at the same time, trying to draw attention to what is not right.
Yeah, and that is the problem when it goes, like you said, you can not like someone, there's, like I said, there's plenty of people in the guilds I don't like. I just ignore them. I don't go looking.
You don't go out of your way to RP with them.
No, and I don't avoid them. I'm polite to them, but I also, the interaction is as short and brief as I can possibly make it, and I move on to something I'd rather be doing with my time. My time's very precious to me, so.
As a role player, that is your choice.
Mm-hmm.
I totally believe that.
But what it like I said, what it comes real bad is when it's officers, because with that they actually have the authority, and they can make your in-game life miserable, and they can cause drama and things like that. With that, and that's where, like, if you get to the point where, like, well, so and so did the exact same thing I just did, I got my ass handed to me, why didn't they? People see that stuff, and they'll see that stuff in your guild. And that bias, that bias and that favoritism towards certain people see it. They may not see it right off the bat. It takes time, because at first you're like, well, it's just, I don't know, it's just coincidence.
And to be fair, sometimes they see it when it doesn't exist.
And sometimes they see it when it doesn't exist, right?
Mm-hmm.
But being biased can cause you also to take things out of character when really they need to be kept in character, and it can happen very, very easily and very, very, very quickly. And it'll just sneak up on you. Sorry, like I said, I had sinus problems, but just junk in my throat. So, when it goes to that, taking your bias, man, I think we've all seen that quite a bit, where, like, especially like with officers, if you already don't like a person, it's like when you're sick and you stub your toe. It feels like you didn't just stub your toe. It feels like somebody took a sledgehammer and smashed your foot with it like 40 times.
It's true.
Just because you don't feel well. You're sick, so everything. Your joints are aching, you're hurting already. You already are irritated by everything. The fact that this person even breathes in your direction, you're like, you son of a bitch, how dare you?
I fully agree. I mean, this happens. Sometimes it happens slowly. If you have a particular guild member who has been a repeat offender on this or that, and they keep getting let in the guild, and you don't even want to deal with them anymore because you're like, it's going to end the same way.
Yeah.
And you don't mean to be biased toward them, but based off their actions, how it's going to do, and it's a waste of time to even try to do anything with folks.
Well, and again, that goes into that and it is your right as a role player and somebody that's his time is we've all only got 24 hours in the day. You don't get any more than that. That's it. You're done. After that, it starts over. It's awful. So if you don't, you know who this is, and part of the problem too comes in like you can have that bias, but if they've not done anything to break the rules, Jazz, you've ran into that problem how many times?
Oh yeah.
We
even get called on that a lot.
Yeah, you know this shit's gonna happen, and you want to, but if you want to be consistent with your own rules, you can't do anything to this person, because if you do, then you're the one that looks like you're being biased and playing favorites and things like that.
Yeah, we had that often. I had to deal with favoritism and bias. Bias I never had a problem with. Myself, I always felt that bias, if my officer says, I voted against him even joining the guild, I'll tolerate him because we had a rule you can't put anybody on ignore when you're an officer.
Right.
It sucked, but that was one of our rules.
Because if they started shit, you need to be able to see it.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to be able to see. You have to be able to screenshot what they're saying. You have to be. So it just wouldn't work. But within the guild, we had people who didn't like other people. And if they wanted to put them on ignore, that was their choice. And I had some people complain to me, well, this person has me on ignore. Well, maybe just leave them the hell alone. Idea. Because they obviously are done with you. Take the hint and leave them be. Well, you're not going to say anything? I thought you couldn't have people on ignore. And they go, oh, no. They can ignore you all they want. Our officers can't ignore.
Yeah.
Are you saying some people want to? Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't lie. I mean, I'd be like, oh, yeah. I mean, you said, like this one particular person that we had to deal with a lot. I was like, dude, you got into the guild 5-4. Do the math.
Yeah.
There are 5 people in this guild that were willing to tolerate you.
And
there were 4 people who really want you to die in a fire. And they have to not have you on ignore.
That's
so
not
maybe
fair. We want them to die in a fire with the doors and windows locked and barred. There's a difference. They might escape otherwise.
Right. You can't have them escaping, man.
No.
Yeah. So, but, and if they did something that I felt was like, one particular officer had a problem with him even more than Strafe. And he jumped on him one night.
But yes.
He jumped on him one night for absolutely nothing. And it was absolutely nothing.
Just having a bad night and like,
yeah,
there's my punching bag.
He didn't say anything. He didn't say anything bad, any worse than it. He just was like, he kind of quipped in with somebody and lit into him. And I got on and I got screenshots and I immediately pulled my officer into chat. And I was like, dude, you were completely out of line. What were you doing? And he was like, so you're going to take his, because I had been friends with this person for a long time. Well, not friends. I think friends is a big word. What's the word I'm looking for? I felt bad for him. And I thought he was a decent enough person. He just was a little screwed up in the head. So I gave him a lot of chances. And
boy, did you.
I did, until we couldn't do it anymore. And I asked him to leave the guild and he, we were done. But he's like, you're going to let him off. I'm like, you did something that you can't do, which is jump on him for basically agreeing icily with someone because you can't stand him.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that, but I'm sorry. I know he irritates the crap out of you. I know the fact that he's breathing and he's on planet Earth bothers you, but nevertheless,
yeah,
you can't do that.
especially when it's an in-character thing. Like,
yeah, it was totally in character, and he went off on him OC.
see, and that's, if you
and
had
I
gone
said,
off on
now-
an in-character, that might have been different, but
Right.
you can't.
I was like,
that
now you have to
really can't
apologize.
do
Well,
that.
he also did it IC. I mean, he did it
okay.
both. So
Yeah,
it was mixing,
still
and
not
it
better.
was like, you have to apologize. I will not. You will, or you will step down.
See, and that's the problem. Some officers, because they are so cozy with command, they think they can
Right.
genuinely get away with that stuff, and that they have to be held in check just like everybody else.
Right.
Yeah, 'cause
And
they're
I
all-
knew
they're
that
all
I
friends. Yeah,
I couldn't give him a pass because
sets a dangerous precedent.
it's a dangerous precedent that I'm playing favorites.
And you wouldn't
Because-
be doing him a service if you didn't call him out. So there
Right.
you go.
I wouldn't be doing anybody any good, including my guild. So he did apologize. I was very surprised. He did end up stepping down about 6 months later, but he did but he did apologize.
6 months is a pretty good long time for other reasons to come up, at least.
Yeah, he was already he had a busy life, so he
Burnout
stepped
and
down. It
stuff
had
like
nothing to, it wasn't burnout. It was just his life was insane, and he was like, I just can't do this anymore, and that's fine. I have no problem with that. But that instant, I think, was a turning point for him and I. We became actually better friends,
Yeah.
primarily because I called him on his shit, and I said,
Mhm.
you can't do that.
Yep.
And I also made a big impression on other people in the guild that I never thought would have cared, who were like, you stepped up, even though I know he causes you a lot of trouble. You stepped up and said that was out of line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I said, for the first time in 3 years, it wasn't his fault. And
Oh man.
what am I going to do? I mean, I
Right.
have to call it. So
the memories.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, let's go ahead and go to our call lines, where we've got Oaken on the line. How's it going, Oaken?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for taking my call. And I want to say that it's a real pleasure to be here. I think this is the first time I've had Saturday available to call in. Usually I have to catch the show off the podcast.
Yeah. Well,
Welcome
appreciate
to the
you
show,
being able to
man.
do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll just get on that soapbox for a little bit longer and say I've been listening since episode 1. The production values have been increasingly great. The show's on a good format, and you guys do a really good job.
I appreciate it,
Oh,
Oaken.
thank you.
Even if you
Thanks,
were
bro.
a former Final Fantasy 14 player, are you still playing that?
Oh yeah, I still play it.
Man.
And it's funny in the sense of like,
it's I've been listening to Limit Break Radio. There's nobody playing that game anymore.
they'll have you believe that.
I love those guys, but yeah, I know they exaggerate just a little bit. At least on there, but they're also on what, Sergeant Tannis? I mean,
Oh yeah,
it's like
yeah.
there's like 8 people on that server to start with.
5
so,
people on
yeah.
it.
Oh, is it only
If you
5?
go to
now?
Valmont
Yeah, that
or
makes
any of the
sense.
big servers,
Yeah.
they're pretty populated.
Yeah, that's where I was, and never did get my player housing.
Yeah, I'm so busy these days. I haven't been able to roleplay in goodness months, and I just have to kind
man.
of live vicariously through you guys. It's good to hear the stories and whatnot.
Well, I'm glad to
Oh,
hear that.
thank you.
I always wonder if that's. I've heard. To me, it's like the weakest part of the show. I mean, it's just in depth and behind the scenes thing here, but people seem to enjoy it.
Oh, it's definitely enjoyable.
Okay, all right. Well, there you go.
And I wanted to call in today on the issue of bias, and I think a lot of the discussion in the past about roleplay has centered around really guilds and guild-oriented roleplay. And I think that bias is kind of a product of the guild system. When I roleplayed, I was always a fan of more one-on-one or maybe up to 10 people, and I would typically hand-pick people because I knew they were good role players, they were nice people, and the scenes would flow well with them. Generally, in my experience, in these guild structures, and I've tried small guilds, big guilds, you do get that drama that creeps in, and you get officers in bias. And I think it's that system of kind of needlessly herding people into a structured environment with ranks and procedures and rules that kind of flushes in all that other baggage. You can get good RP from guild structures, but I sure as haven't figured out avoiding bias and things like that. I just
Are
think
you an anarchist? Be honest.
No way, not an anarchist.
Okay, just
This is my
checking.
experience.
I
Down
do
with
agree
the
with
guild
Oaken.
patriarchy.
I do agree, Loken. The whole reason I played Gormal, my big troll, was to kind of thumb my nose at the rules, the authority, but still be a part of the community. And even the guild leader one time said, "I think Gormal is the freest one here, and everyone else is like a slave to the system." It was pretty funny.
That's why you gotta love swamp zones. Trolls come
That's
from
right.
No, they're the worst. They're the worst.
Oaken, you get faction positive.
Your faction,
Swamp-
your faction has increased with Strophe, 15 out of 40.
That's right.
I kind of have to agree with you, Oaken, because I know when I first started, it was hard for me to get involved in the guild RP. And I do have certain people like Straffe and Caves that are my good friends, and I'm more comfortable RPing with them than I am a lot of times in like the guild environment RP. I don't know why. I have a harder time RPing when it's a group. When I'm one-on-one with somebody, I'm more comfortable and I'm more likely to, open up more in my RP.
Yeah,
Well,
I
for
feel
me,
too. Oh, go ahead, Jazz.
go ahead.
I'm sorry.
I was just going to say that obviously I've run several guilds. I like guild RP, but I also do group RP and open RP. I dislike one-on-one. I very rarely do it. I very rarely do a hand-picked RP. I prefer the chaotic nature of not really knowing what I'm going to run into.
Mhm.
Obviously, it can be bad. But I also want to say that in the time that I've been role-playing, which is about, Jiminy Christmas, almost 15 years, the time that I've been doing this, I have not found any more drama outside of the guild. Simply because groups of people, whether they're in a guild or not, if you have a group of people that you RP with, there's going to be some level of drama at some point. Maintain a connection long enough, at least that's how it has been for me. But then again, I also RP very intense, sometimes negative. I like conflict RP, which automatically is going, especially if you don't know who you're dealing with. So take the
Adversarial
caveat.
RP is fun.
Yeah, and and it can, and of course the a lot of those, I think it depends on the guild structure and moreover the overall leadership and the standards that are imposed by that. Because you're right. I mean, with it's like with any large group of people or any structured anything, there's always, I mean, local politics to big politics to sports teams and you're inside your office in your workplace. We all have those shitty supervisors that obviously they clearly treat some people very differently than others, and it's those people. It's the same people that are running guilds and things like that as well. So it really depends on. I think it's situational, but the unfortunate thing is, so many people they just can't. Looking at themselves is a lot harder than just going with the flow, being part of the cool crowd. You've got your people you like. So like, hey, watch this as I snub this guy here. And everyone, the villagers rejoice and cheer, but. It also then, of course, that's where the drama and the bullshit comes in, frankly.
Because, we found a witch.
Yeah.
Huh?
She does have a wart though. She's got a wart.
Exactly the same kind of deal.
Yeah. But but at the same time, you also, a lot of people, you need the guild structure helps. Yeah, Jazz, I know. For some reason, your voice was robo-sizing just a little bit at the end, so hopefully your connection straightens out. Everyone else sounds fine. It's just you, RoboCop. But the guild structures, they help focus the role play, and I think a lot of that too. It just depends as well on like what the type of guild is
and what kind of person. I mean,
yeah,
you got so many different personalities and people that role play. It's whatever they prefer or what they like. Because there's some people that are in guilds, but they never RP at the guild events, and it could be they're not comfortable. They're, it's hard. I know when we go to the tea house, a lot of times, if it's super busy, I can't keep up, and I feel like I'm doing really good with my role play, skills, but even there, I'm like, I can't do this, and 30 minutes in, and I'm like, I gotta go.
Yeah, that's an issue I saw with several Final Fantasy XIV free companies. Those are guilds in Final Fantasy XIV that grew to those larger sizes. They wanted to accommodate everyone, which is great. Inclusivity in roleplay is wonderful. But when your events grow to a size of like 15, 30 people for a guild event, I mean, it becomes really different dynamic.
Yeah, it becomes almost impossible to manage unless you're doing what the PvP thing that those guys.
Oh, the grindstone. Yeah.
But
if you have a formula down,
they've got the formula, and they have like literally like 5 to 8 people helping run that thing as a guild. So they can handle 60 or 70, 80 people. But when you have that many people crammed into that tiny little, was it the quicksand in Ul'dah?
Yeah.
It's just a free for all. It's and a lot of fudacocks everywhere.
Would be your cat herding skills at its finest.
That's Our cat girl herding skills, as it were, in Final Fantasy XIV.
Yeah,
hey, we absorbed the ERP population for you guys.
You
so
have
to deal with
you guys
tons of Dunmer and Nord ladies walking around with stuff between their legs. You know what it goes.
You are definitely an ERP sponge in Final Fantasy XIV, especially on the Balmung server. And we appreciate
it. It's a bad reputation. It's not that prominent. Like if you go into the main ERP hub on Balmung, which is the quicksand, and you look at the people in there, maybe 70% of people I'd say in there are not explicit ERP. So you have maybe 30% that are really ERP. Maybe 10% of those people are really out there, like really far out there.
And then most of those, I knew it was a special place when we were playing, and I you could inspect people's profiles, and like the first word is Fuda, then and of course it was a row. I mean, naturally.
Oh yeah. Well, you can keep all those purple Wookiees. In fact, I think Maxon's cutting you a check, Oaken, for the desired time of endearment. Interment.
Excellent.
Determined.
Yeah, keep remitting payment over here. We appreciate it.
Yeah, unfortunately, though, since you have the cat girls and cat boys, but we have the full furries on ours because in the what was the scalies? We have the furries in the
scalies. Yeah, you guys got scalies, like proper scalies.
Argonians
we have proper Argonians. Oh yeah,
proper scalies.
That would be interesting if you guys could get on some of the scaly community in ESO. I would love to hear an episode on that.
Oh no,
like in a non-judgmental way.
I don't deal with purple Wookiees, bro.
But do you think I could put my bias in non-judgmental way long enough to do a full hour?
Well, this is the bias episode. We need to talk through these things.
Well, remember, bias isn't bad. But at the same time, I think he might have a problem with
my sarcasm would definitely offend somebody, and I wouldn't be able to help it. We'd have to find someone super nice. Hey, Human Floyd, what are you doing?
I think we have.
I'm kidding. Yeah, I don't have any proof that he's a furry, just a heavy suspicion.
You already have a foot into the scaly and furry community here.
That's right.
We do, actually.
It's like the vanilla channel. Now you got to dig deeper.
I mean, there are a lot of furry and scalies, but I mean, there are also good role players that don't participate in that crap and actually play an Argonian or actually.
Well, I mean, they may participate in it, but they don't focus on it, and they still want regular role play. While they may be furries and scalies, it doesn't take
like
over
anything.
their RP. Yeah.
I'll be honest. I give them a lot of shit because it's easy. It's like making fun of people that do what is the Confederate roleplay reenactment, the Civil War reenactors.
Those would be Civil War reenactors.
Yeah, they're easy to make fun of. But so are it's just every group of people. I mean, there's somebody right now like those fucking role players, a bunch of neck-bearded, jobless, waifu pillow holding weirdos, and they're not entirely wrong.
No, they're not.
Let's be honest. We know
a lot of creative people who have trouble fitting into society or who are disabled and can't work will find themselves in the roleplay community, and I think that skews the count a bit.
I mean, I agree with that. I mean, I have friends that are like that, and they don't have really good social skills, so they retreat to video games. It's not a perfect answer, but that's what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the mental health episode, though.
I think that issue spans in the MMO genre in general. I mean, I do a little bit of casual raiding on the side, and I find that there are many people that do raiding that are just as socially awkward and struggle
you want
and be
drama?
jerks.
Go into raiding.
Oh yeah, raid
It's
guilds make
about
roleplay
equal
guilds look
roleplay.
like.
About equal.
Yeah. Oh,
They-
Form your bias quick.
I had a friend of mine that ran that raid guild in EQ2, who was a friend of my husband's and a friend of mine, and the things he would tell me, I was just like, wow. So we would often talk about our various dramas.
that was my cloak of flames,
Yeah.
you son of a bitch.
Yes. And it was like that. It was just like he was like they squabble over things like a bunch of little old ladies arguing over pinochle. Yeah. He's like, and it gets really, really intense. So he could feel my pain when I was like, seriously, this is what they're arguing about right now.
My raid participation points are 4 behind what it should have been. I have been keeping calculated, and I should have enough to vote to get those boots of swiftness.
Yeah.
But to be honest, man, if we're talking classic EQ, that Cloak of Flames, man, that is worth drawing some blood over.
Yeah, funky tunic, Cloak of Flames.
Yeah.
There you go.
Funky tunic, man.
And in all honesty, you know, the games give people a chance to be something they'll never have a chance to be in real life.
That's
you know?
true, and it also
It's
provides a level of
escape.
socialization that many of them have.
Well, in
raiding, they get to be that badass that in real life they can't be.
Yeah, well, I shit on. I don't shit on raiders. I just I don't have the patience for it. But the coordination, especially in things like the games like WoW, World of Warcraft and stuff, the rating in that, I mean, it's like down to the button press, especially when it comes to new stuff, and the level of coordination in wrangling that many people together and getting everybody to do exactly what they are without Leroy Jenkins running in before anyone's ready.
Which happens all the time.
Yeah, in Final Fantasy XIV, like raiding is very much almost like playing a musical instrument. You have very specific rotations, it's very tight dynamics.
Yeah, when you get towards the top, those new ones, it becomes a lot more than don't stand in the red fucking circle, you DPS moron.
Yeah, definitely. I always tell my raid group that I've told them that I've roleplayed in the past. Sometimes they give me shit over it. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell them, like, doing a full, good roleplay plot, like a good one, 10 times more difficult than any raid I've ever done. Coordinating that many people, writing well, good content, it is 10 times more difficult.
Keeping people from going OOC or mixing or metagaming and things like that, and making sure that they're like pulling people aside, keeping the feelings from being hurt, keeping the
MI6 has less energy taken than we do trying to keep plot points out of people's hands that you know are going to metagame. You've got to handle this without hurting anybody's. Oh my god! Yeah,
and see that's why I like that approach where you like customly pick people instead of like just trying to herd yourself with the crowd.
So I've got a question for you. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. But so do you like scripted RP or do you like open RP?
I like both. I especially like open IRP and chaotic RP where I'm pulling strings and creating stories for people.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like both for myself, yeah. I mean, I don't like this. Of course, when we say scripted roleplay, we're not like, all right, well, here's literally your script and here's your lines. Now just play it, puppet. Now, that's not what we're talking about. We mean, like, scripted as in, like, hey, here's a plot point, and we're going to go through it with A to D.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. A to D, and what happens at B and C is up to you guys, yeah.
It's like you write a basic event outline, it arches like 5-6 ways, and you just roll with it.
Yeah,
and those are always fun, because that's the kind of stuff I do, although I haven't done it lately with that. I know I haven't had any menace updates because I've been sick, and then every time I look at the calendar, it's completely filled up for the week already. So I need to start jumping in on that earlier. It's just hard. You never know your schedule.
That's a challenge, especially if you can't roleplay during prime time.
Yeah.
Yes, that is a major problem.
Yeah,
for
and that's one
a lot
thing,
of people.
like with the Servants of the Tribunal that we talk about a lot. Almost all their stuff is at 9 Central is typically when they do all their events, because it's typically the time across the United States that everyone's able to do it, and other people, Australia, it's really late for us. Really,
I've noticed that a lot of roleplay
really
happens
early.
in Servants between midnight and 2 a.m. And
Yeah,
I go to bed at 10.
Yeah.
So
a lot of unscripted, event stuff. Yeah, and it's it's just kind of it's one of those things like Oaken was saying. It's just the way that guild is structured. That's just how things have developed over time, I guess.
But truthfully, Silver Circle was the same way.
Yeah.
We were a late night guild, and we didn't even really start anything till around 8 or 9 o'clock, because that would mean that was 7 Pacific. So we didn't start anything until basically people were home from work and had had dinner.
Yeah.
On the West Coast. So that automatically would mean that was...
Yeah, you start at 9 o'clock on the East Coast. It's only 6 on, California and Oregon and Washington.
So it's not quite late enough. So we often had to start late, and our East Coast folks often got the short end of the stick because they had to go to bed. And
the West Coast folks might be late, but they got to stay. They came to the event late, but they got to stay for the whole thing and beyond.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's the benefits of being in different time zones.
Back when I, of course, didn't have a job, we were role-playing, like actively role-playing until 3 o'clock in the morning. My time.
Yeah.
3, 4 o'clock. And it didn't even start winding down until 2 or 3 o'clock. Once I started working and living my life, all my RP died because that was the way my own guild was formed.
Mm-hmm.
I killed my RP too.
Yeah.
Because
I know.
all the people that I role played with were night owls. That's who I had made friends with for years, for 10 years. And suddenly I didn't have that anymore. And it was hard because that was, even though I'm a very social person and my job is social work, I don't socialize with people easily. So,
the college days, late nights.
Yeah, you guys were my people. It was so hard when I didn't have that for a while.
I'm with you now, Jazz. I got to go to bed at 10 or else, man.
Yeah.
Me too.
10 o'clock, I have to log off. I tell people, I have to get some sleep tonight.
Sibby said it best. Sibby said it best the other night. She said, we're the old people, Eric, because we got to go to sleep at 10.
It is. It sucks.
But if I stay at past midnight in RP, it seems like I get in trouble, and I make stupid decisions in my RP.
That's true, because we're tired and we're not thinking clearly.
So
it's almost like being drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is, and I try to shut it off. I don't. Midnight is the latest.
Yeah.
If I go past midnight, I'm gonna something bad's gonna happen, and I'm gonna end up unhappy with my RP.
And then I have to deal with it, and then I'm unhappy.
Yeah.
That's one of the challenges with RP. It's so hard to know the stop time sometimes. As much as I always said to myself, like, I want to RP up to 3 hours. It can just go on and on sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you start, like you said, when you start pulling those threads, man, you just unraveling you're like, I'll just unravel the sleeve, and then you've got, like, you end up with a tube top.
I know it's been a good RP night when my husband comes home from his bar shift at 2 a.m., 2:30, and taps me on my shoulder, and I'll look at him for a minute and focus and go, oh shit, is it that late? Really? And I'll look at the clock. Damn it.
I like to call it the Sibby's Cinderella effect. Anything past 12 starts going down, man. Not in a good way.
Especially if you're on
turn
that,
into
not
a
on
pumpkin.
that schedule. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you calling in, Oak. Do you have anything else before I let you go?
No. Thank you so much for doing the show. I really enjoy it, and hope everyone has a good weekend.
Well, I appreciate you calling in, and glad you were able to make it. So you have a good night, bud.
Take it easy. Goodbye.
Appreciate Oka calling in. UTAN2, rpmroradio.com/Discord. Jump in our waiting room. Rahanar will be there to make sure your mic works and all that fun stuff.
What a solid dude. And I'm not just saying that because he, jumped on the show, praised us up, sent us a payment. I mean, he's a generally good dude.
Right, yeah. Yeah, he's actually one of our, one of the people that listens to the other podcast that, Limit Break Radio for Final Fantasy 14. I see him over there off and on. Oof. So going back here, with the bias, the difference, we were talking here about, for officers and guild leaders, and how it can be especially damaging if you're a guild leader officer and things like that. So when does the bias go from being an innocent thing of just liking someone else to showing favoritism, and how does that manifest? Especially if, for example, if you play with your spouse, like I do. Every time stuff, I'm very protective of Sib. She's my wife. I'd be a pretty shitty husband if I didn't, and I wasn't. I just can't help it. It's you mess with my family, you better have a fucking good reason for it.
That's right.
Especially if she ends up upset, you better have a really goddamn good reason for it.
I had to deal with that with my husband as
Yeah.
well, because he was the commander of the Silver Circle for a long time.
Yeah.
And when people would make it personal and
Mm-hmm.
would take it to me and call me the C word and other things, he would step in and just bear out. I mean, in capital letters, you know?
Yeah.
And I would hear him in his office yelling.
Had he not met you before that then? You know I love you.
How dare they call her cute?
That wasn't
Yeah,
the
that's
C word
the
I
C
was
word.
talking about.
Yeah, caterpillar. She's talking about caterpillar. Cucumber?
No.
Corpuscle.
Curvaceous?
Anyway, it's a word I don't like, and it tends to set me off. And he knows that. So when he sees it and he reads it and he hears it, he always bristles because two things. One, he knows I'm about to get upset. And two, he's about to have to listen to it. So he gets mad on two levels.
It rhymes with punt.
Yes. And
And-
I
and
dislike
dunt.
that word.
And also
Okay.
munt.
It also makes me very angry.
Yeah. It's one of my least favorite words too. But yeah, you know, and so, and I end up, you know, and I will say, you know, and like when it comes to you guys, you know, because I am an officer, or junior officer in the one guild, I of course, obviously I'm biased towards all of you because I like you. You're like family and friends and all that stuff. But
All praise the Yellow.
that's right. But at the same time, if you do something stupid, I've told each and every one of you, I was like, hey, you know, you kind of overstepped there. I'm not gonna do. I'm too good of friends with you not to be honest if I think you've screwed up. Now, I won't come at you guns blazing or anything like that, but at the same time, I'm not going to show you favoritism. If you break a rule, you break a rule. Especially if it's
Right.
if it's in character, man, all gloves are off. Obviously,
Well,
if
yeah.
you do something stupid in
I
character,
expect no less.
right? But out of character, you know, yeah. I mean, I've had it with Sib every now and then. Something happens. It's like, well, I can see where they kind of came off that way because the way you said that, they probably read it like this and like, oh, yeah. And I'm not.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm mostly perfect, but I still have my moments. You know, like once or twice a year, I might slip up or make a mistake, but it's pretty rare. Okay, here's one Yunfei has, and she's not salty about it at all. Yunfei says it becomes a problem if someone has plans with you and then they ditch you for spontaneous ERP. And
Boy, that happens a lot.
it's only been 10 years, and she says she is absolutely not salty about it at all. She is completely not angry about that.
Totally understandable.
10 years
We've all
later,
had to go through it.
that's why she brings it up. And you know what? And that right there, that's... I don't know how you... I don't know if I would consider that favoritism or bias towards a person so much as...
poor form.
Well, poor form, but having that they're pathetic and lonely and that they'll dump a friend for their favorite thing, which is ERP and getting the rocks off, you know.
If you put ERP ahead of roleplay, I mean, that is a form of bias. If somebody's going to give you a piece of digital penis and that somehow means that you need to drop everything you're doing and run to them, or someone's not giving you the digital penis fast enough and so you move on, those things I think are a form of favoritism because it causes a lot of hurt feeling.
I know what everyone's
feelers.
thinking, and I agree. I am equally as uncomfortable with her using the phrase digital penis.
But would you prefer I use a different word?
No, it just makes me remarkably uncomfortable. I don't know, just something about hearing you say that out loud repeatedly is just weird.
Okay.
No, you're right. I would have said digital ass because that. I mean, how dare you assume their gender? What if they're lesbians?
Oh, sticky pogo, bro.
That's true. Sticky pogo comes under any gender.
Sticky pogo.
That's an old
Sticky
Star Wars
finger.
Galaxies cut down.
Will you say sticky finger roleplay? You know, I mean, we had lots of names for ERP back in the day, and we all did it. I think the difference is that we had its place, and you didn't You didn't usurp good RP and run away from it just because somebody was going to slip you some on the side. It was ridiculous. And that is particularly hurtful when you've spent years RPing with someone and they're just like, well, I'm not getting it, and I really thought I would by now. So tell you what, I'm just going to kill off this character and
I'd go to somebody that will wet my wick. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's always a little shocking when it happens, and it's happened to me several times because I stopped ERPing there for a long time, as you know, after He Who Shall Not Be Named. And I couldn't do it anymore because there were just too many people who couldn't separate real life and fantasy.
It's a good way to separate role players from ERP hounds.
Yes, it is. And so I stopped, and I just faded to black and stopped focusing on it at all, because even though I find it a lot of fun and I find it a very important aspect of my character's life, because who you have sex with and how you have sex, or if you don't have sex, is all part of your personality, and it's an important part of who you are. So I really feel that Xing it out would make your character less three-dimensional. But at the same time, if that's all people do,
you're not even two-dimensional at that point.
You're not even two-dimensional. You're just a walking penis or a walking. And what's the point? You're not really a person. You're just creating.
You're not
creating
role
play.
You're just doing cyber sex. Yeah.
You're just creating role play so that you can get your wick off, and whatever that is, whether you're male or female, I just think it's silly.
It's an easy bias for the lure of that crap. I
think it's more. Yeah, I wouldn't use bias. I would use favoritism. It's plain and simple.
And it's not even about the person. It's just the fact that they found somebody else that's willing to do it, and when you dump a friend in something that you already had pre-planned for some digital piece of ass that just came up, there's just happened to log in. Yeah, you're just being a shitty friend, and honestly, after that, you pretty much know their colors.
Yeah,
it's something that when they show that, it's you know where you now stand in the ranking order with that individual.
Yeah. And I really think that
you need to think long and hard if you want to really continue role playing with them.
And that point right there is how you can tell if someone's a serious role player or not. Period. If they show that kind of favoritism, you need to think long and hard, because that's what separates actual role players. Because as you know, I get a lot of hate about this. I don't consider ERP to be role play.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's a thing to do over here, but it's not role play.
On that note, if you do run an experiment, for instance, I quit doing everything, fade to black, like Jazz said. The problem people in your role play will freaking vanish overnight.
Yeah, and it was really hard when it happened to me too. Is that I was like, because I was who was I talking to? It might even have been Drefe over here. I had said that I could walk away from this and I'll keep all of my RP, and the only RP that I kept was him. Everyone else went whoosh, gone, and I was just like,
it was
holy
the Wile E.
cow.
Coyote little. It was the
hairpins
outline
in
of
the
the
air.
wall, and
it was just like, wow, because I was really hurt by that, because I had no idea that the people that were in my life at the time were that shallow.
That they weren't really friends. It was just it literally was just It was typing out porn.
I was just helping them rub one out. Right. Period. That's all I was doing. And once I wouldn't do that anymore, they were like, well, I'll see you later. Choo!
That's how I got rid of my problem child. It works like a charm.
Yeah.
And can I just say, if you do that, please reconsider, because some of these people you make friends with in your RP, you're, all they have. You're who they socialize with throughout their day, because, they might not be able to socialize with people outside.
Yeah. They have a very limited social
sphere. Can really hurt their feelings. So if you do stuff like that, please reconsider and don't,
Yeah, check out your own life. I don't know if
you've
heard of it, but
you don't want to hurt people.
Yeah,
sometimes it really hurts people.
Yeah, go to the Reddit or something and go get that Kick app. You can find plenty of people if all you want to do is cyber sex digitally and thing. But if you're going to come to an MMO and do it, and that's it, like, I have no problem with people that do it, and that's part of it's just when instead of fading to black,
they like interactive porn.
But
there's nothing wrong with that.
But everything else around there, they're still a solid role player. They still do stories. They still do events. They're still that's perfectly fine. But the only problems I have, people I have a problem with that is like that. That's literally the one and only thing that they're after, and it's boring to me. I have nothing because I don't do that. So, and all I've ever seen is it hurt everybody that does it around me and cause more problems than any other one thing in there, because
it really is
that's your
the
favorite
source of
thing
a
to
lot
do.
of drama. Yeah.
Something to expand on our ERP episode.
That's right.
Yes, definitely.
So going along here, one of the things too, like we said earlier too, is and this is largely for the officers and things like that. When you start when it goes from bias to favoritism, you start ignoring rules for people. You give worst examples too would be things like you give them promotions without having them have done any of the work or shown it, overlooking and excusing bad behavior, stories, lore, or just the character itself, and punishing anyone that dares to contradict them because they're your favorite.
Yeah.
We've I want to say it, but I don't. That a very old vampire character that came up. I don't know. Am I allowed to talk about that? Because that was ridiculous. Yeah.
I don't remember which one you're talking about. We had several.
There was one that just came up that's like over 3,000 years old. Now, there's nothing biased or favoritism about. That's just a bad rule. It's just really lazy. I don't know.
Well, I mean, in this game, there is lore to support it. I think my point is that in this game, you don't have to be a 35-year-old 100-year-old vampire in order to
actually being a 35-year-old vampire would be a
3,500.
I know, but a 35-year-old vampire would be a welcome change of pace.
No kidding.
I mean, I understood, and I talked to the person. They were dead on their lore. I made sure I'm new to this game.
Yeah.
And when somebody tells me they're a 3,000-year-old vampire, I start getting flashbacks.
You go to EQ2 where they're only allowed to be like 1,000 or whatever it was.
2,000.
Did your eyes start twitching?
Yes, I was just like twitch. So I sent them a tell because at first I was like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not. No, I have to. So
I'll be honest. Mostly it's just because most of the people that do that are in their 20s and stuff like that. You don't have the experience very likely to pull it off, and it's going to end up being awful.
That is primarily the biggest thing, is if you're going to be a really, really old creature of any kind, whether it's a vampire, a werewolf, an elf, a necromancer, it really doesn't matter. If you're going to say that you're that old, you had better know every single solitary thing that happened in the game in that period of time. And if you can't pull that off, that's why all my characters are less than 200 years old.
Yeah, I will say too, one thing, it's Oak Hobson thing, but it's Oaken. He says and this is one thing I really loved about Final Fantasy XIV, vampires don't exist in the lore.
That was so refreshing.
Neither
really
do
was.
werewolves.
Nope. Yeah, so I really like that.
They do have the sexy cat girls and cat boys. No, I'll put up with. At least they're easy to look at, I guess, but they're not a vampire.
That's where my bias comes in. These people, and they show themselves to be purple Wookiees when they have to be a vampire and they have to be so old, and they don't act like it. It's like, dude, come on, man.
Yeah, like
I'm not going to take you serious at all.
Like I don't not Triton. Tilder. He was an old vampire, but he did it. It was believable.
He acted like a grumpy old man who really just wanted everyone to die.
Bored with everything. Yeah.
Yes, he was awesome.
And
we need more Louis and less as many Lestats in the roleplay community. I think.
But and I don't actually mind roleplayer and werewolf roleplay. It's just the reason I don't like it is because it's 99% of the time just done horribly bad.
Yes, I think that's fair. I think most people that play vampires,
and it's my personal view, you might play one, and I'm sure it's fantastic the way you do it. So, to anybody that might be listening that plays a role player or a vampire or a werewolf, I'm sure
I have to say that we have quite a collection within our guild that do a very good job, including our recent 3,000-year-old vampire we met. It just made me twitch personally for the reasons because of where I come from, and that most of the time when someone's playing a really old vampire,
I will say they have a uphill battle with me.
Yes.
It is going to be long and arduous, filled with Sisyphus-like rocks and boulders. Where they'll come at you once, and then Sisyphus is going to actually push the boulder up the other side and push it at you again. It's that kind of an uphill battle with me. So just I don't really have a lot of patience for anything. I'm just old and cranky. But yeah, in giving, definitely giving people promotions and stuff like that, man, you just can't do that because people definitely see that. Your guild will see that. Other officers will see it, and it's a surefire way. Now, on the flip flop, I
have another drink, baby. Have another drink.
Only had like a single beer tonight. It's been a rough week. I've been going to bed at like 10:30. Like last night it was 10:30, and I was like, and that was only because I had already fallen asleep at like 9:30 in my chair.
Yeah,
dang,
and just say he come in there and start snorting in my ear, and I was like, oh no, you don't.
Hey, you didn't complain about the cuddling, just the part where I started
love the cuddling, but I was like, it's like you gotta roll over, man.
Boy, that sounds familiar.
I love him. Snoring.
Yeah.
Our walls rattle. My husband is just.
The only reason I don't snore is because I have a CPAP. So.
Yeah.
I don't snore. I breathe heavy.
No,
Wait a
I
minute.
snore.
Sibby's has a Vader mask? Oh, that's
she
awesome.
does. Oh yeah. Yeah.
It was Darth Sibby's all along.
I don't snore.
She used to though.
I used to.
She used to. It was so loud. The neighbors would be like, "Mike, wake up your wife. She's snoring."
I know. The other day, this was
you.
like 2 or 3 years ago. My husband had gone to bed because he didn't feel good. He was sick, and so he only gets like 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night. He's weird. He doesn't need much more than that. But he had gone to bed at like 8 o'clock at night, and he was in bed, and we were in the kitchen cleaning up, and he was snoring. And the boys both stopped and went, "What is that?" And I was like, "What is what?" "That sound." And I'm listening, and I'm like, "I don't hear anything. You can't hear this sound." "Oh, your father." "Oh, dear. He's probably sleeping on his back. Hold on."
Oh, gosh.
Went and told him, "Roll over, baby. You're scaring the kids." There you go.
You're scaring the kids.
The children are crying. It's 2 states away. But one of the other things, we'll get through these last bit here, is on the flip side of it, what happens when it's only perceived that way, but actually isn't. And I know we've had this happen a lot. One of the examples I remembered back in EQ2 and Silver Circle, which Jazz led and I was an officer of, because I was married to that. Someone was upset with Jazz because she didn't get onto my character Xanis for chewing someone out and beating them senseless. He was a monk. That's what he did. He talked with his fists. I think the Jedi call that aggressive negotiations. He beat him senseless, and they were like, "Well, other people would get in trouble because you're not supposed to fight." The problem was that was literally Xanis's job, and mine as an officer was in character. It was like it was
people always did that. Because we were not allowed to fight each other, but the officers could beat the crap out of you, and that was just the way it was. I mean. That was their job as fists because they were Vakarina's fists.
Yeah.
We had another situation. Yeah, that one of the guys got in Vaka's face, I see, and pushed her and reached his hand back to hit her. And she was like, "If you finish that thought, you need to understand that you will regret it." Because he was a big guy. He was like, "What are you going to do? There's nothing you can do to me at all." And he knew I wasn't a PvPer or anything. And then they were standing behind him, my 2 officers. And they were like, "No, see, that's our job. And you're both going to fight me? Oh, yeah. And we're going to enjoy it." So it was, but, Sealy, Vaka was biased. She was, and she was definitely even had her favorites, I see.
Well, yeah.
She didn't even hide it. They'd be like, "You let him do that, why not this person? Because I don't like you."
Yeah.
And I like them a lot. But, Sealy, we kept it really fair. Yeah. And people would accuse me because we had a rule where if the officers did something wrong, I would not correct them in front of everybody unless their transgression happened in front of everybody.
And it had to be stopped right then and there, yeah.
Right. Unless I had to step in at that moment and do something and say something to OC. It was all done off, away from the eyes. We had an officer channel for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And more than once I was like, knock it off. We would have arguments in OOC about it for the officers channel. But I never did it in front of anybody, which gave a lot of people the idea that the officers were never corrected.
Yeah, and it was in character. It wasn't done then and there. It was done after the fact when she'd basically pull them by their ear and say, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
And she would too, but she was always sweetness and light to her officers in front of her people. So she didn't cut them down, and she would say, "Oh, I like them better than I like you." But as soon as we got into the other room where they couldn't hear, I was like, "Don't you ever put me in that position again."
Yeah.
So, and I had the same kind of behavior for my officers in the sense that if I needed to talk to you, I wasn't going to do it in front of everybody unless you gave me no choice. And this led to a lot of people thinking that the officers got away with murder.
Right.
And they didn't. They suffered my wrath, and they would always laugh. And people would say, "Well, Vaca never yells at you guys, OOC." And they'd be like, "That's funny." Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, we had a lot of that. And I would just keep hammering at the fact that you don't see what happens off screen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, especially if, office, for the most part, most guilds, the officers and the guild leader actually do quite a bit to keep, especially if it's a large, successful guild and they've got, people coming in and out and everything like that. It's a treadmill. It's always moving behind the scenes. And just because you don't see it before you, often there's a reason for that. It's because it's being done behind the scenes, because doing it in front of everybody, it lessens.
Well, it cuts down the
everything.
officers' integrity. It makes them look belittled. And
everybody makes mistakes.
Right.
So,
it's just not. It's not something
want it
you
called
do.
out in front. Nobody wants your mistake. If you make a mistake, an honest mistake or a misstep, you don't want it called out in front of everybody every single time, any more than any officer, and nobody wants that, really. And sometimes it does have to be done, but that's if
I didn't.
Really
I did never attack anybody, even pulling them aside and saying this was a mistake. I would do that privately.
Mm-hmm.
I tried very hard not to embarrass people, OOC, because I felt that was. It broke down guild communication, and it wasn't helpful.
Yeah, and that's where and with a lot of that stuff, like we've said before too, perception is often reality for that person, but just because that's their perception, it doesn't make it that's the actual reality of it, and it's why officers have to really police themselves to make sure that they and the others' bias doesn't turn into favoritism, because when that happens, especially on a large scale, in the upper ranks, it's the trickle down economics kind of effect. It's the trickle down role play effect. I guess that's won't quote coin here. That when the bias starts to show there, it seeps into every little crack like expanding foam.
Yes,
and then and everything cracks apart. And
I think we only lost a few officers over that 10-year period. There, I actually had to.
Well.
Huh?
So drama has that trickle down effect as well. It expands everything.
You have to nip drama in the bud, or it will just keep growing in the background.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of times,
because they never talk to officers first. They talk to each other first and bitch and moan before they ever come to officers. Yeah. By the time you've heard about it, it's already been going for a little while.
It's no longer a grass fire. It's fucking Yosemite National Park just burning to the ground. And
right, and you have to.
And it's a super volcano, and now 2/3 of America is unlivable.
Yeah, so you have to move quick and usually be pretty harsh in the process.
Yeah. So we're kind of starting to wrap up here. Often it's not even done this, like the switching over and having all this stuff. I mean, how many people are like, huh, I wonder if I am showing favoritism towards this person I have enjoyed role-playing with a great deal. I should contemplate this over a hot tub bath and a glass of wine.
If you're honest, you do have a bias in amongst your friends versus the other
Right.
guildmates. Some more
But if
so
as
than
long
others.
as it doesn't turn into favoritism,
Right. And
That's true.
nobody really, like I said, it's just nobody's like, interesting. I should look at that with a little bit more self-introspection. You know,
Can
it's
I
not
add
how
one
people
little
think.
point before we close up?
Absolutely not.
I'm going to anyway.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you asked, and sincerely.
Well,
What's up?
you forced me to, okay? No, also, it can be the character you make. And I'm going to use Bargnar as an example.
Bargnar.
Because Bargnar was annoying. And yes, a lot of people didn't like him. And so it could be the character you make, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you may feel like they don't like you, but it could just be the character.
Oh yeah, I know half people loved Bargnar, half people hated Bargnar. He was a dwarf.
Yeah.
That was the entire.
So you have
It
to-
wasn't the intent. It just I made a character, and what happened happened.
Yeah,
I was fine
and
with
you
it.
have to realize that whenever you're creating your character, you have to realize, okay, are people going to hate this character and not like them, you know, or are they going to love him? And it's, you know,
Yeah.
you just it's another aspect to think of whenever you're in the bias
Yeah, 'cause not
situation.
it's like Straffe, you're Rengots. Not everybody liked Rengots. Very few people, in fact, liked Rengots.
I didn't like Rengots.
Yeah.
My
He was
character,
designed for no one to like him. That's the thing.
Yeah.
yeah,
But
it was just unfortunate that Vaca was just like him.
you're adorable.
Wow.
Pinchy those cheeks.
Old school Dark Elves would get along with him well, but
Yeah.
anybody else, they would hate his guts, and that was kind of the point. He
Yeah.
was a devotee to Enderrook, which is the god of hate.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
you know,
Gormal, but see, people with the same thing as Bargnar. Gormal got along well with Bargnar, but no one at first liked Gormal until they got to know Gormal, and they're like, "You're a freaking party animal."
Yeah.
Gormal's like, "Oh yeah, come over to the barbecue. We'll
Yeah,
be
and-
serving your toast."
And Bargnar was the same way. He was silly and he was over the top, but he was also dwarf. But he was also thoughtful and
but
Yeah.
it's just something else
Ill-tempered.
to consider whenever you're creating your
No, I
characters.
agree.
And, yeah,
yeah.
I wanted to throw that
Not
out
all
there.
characters.
Try to remember that if you're making a character that's going, and this is something every time we had somebody that she makes a good point, so I'm going to say this. Whenever you make a character that is a bad guy, and some people like making bad guys, but they don't like their guy to be hated. I don't understand this,
Yeah,
but
you
I know
can't-
that it's
you can't
a thing.
have it both ways with that one.
You
yeah.
can't do that. And we would get people in who were like, "Rawr, I am an evil man. Why don't you like me?"
I just slapped a baby before I came in here. Anybody else impressed? Anybody?
Yeah. And it's just
what do you
like,
mean I'm a
if you're-
monster?
Yeah, and they would get upset about that. And that was one thing when Tilder joined us way back when he first joined us. I told him, I said, I know you haven't, because he didn't know Rengots or anybody yet. And he was like, this is a very dark guild, so I think you're going to fit in well. But we also have our light stripers in here, and they're not going to like Tilder. And I need to understand if you're going to be okay with that.
Mhm.
And he was like,
Ah,
yeah, I wouldn't have made an evil character if I gave a shit.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, then we're going to be fine. And we were. But yeah, don't make an evil character who talks about eating babies and killing people and then expect people to like you. Because there's going to be people who like you, but that's because they're just as evil as you are.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
don't make a character and then be upset because people don't like you. People were like, doesn't it upset you that everyone hates Baka? Dark elf. She
Yeah,
doesn't give a
bad guy.
shit what you think.
Zombie. Bad guy.
Yeah.
But
So, but yeah, I think that's a thing that a lot of people do is they make these characters, and then they're upset when people don't like them.
yeah.
yeah,
And it's like we were saying,
and
You-
it's not biased or favoritism. It's just
so it's personal taste in that way. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it is a bias.
yeah,
They don't like that type of character, or they don't like that type of role play, and that's fine. Like I said, bias in itself isn't bad.
Well, they court that kind of role play.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, for people that for people that didn't like Rengots, and that was perfectly fine, or they didn't like.
Oh,
Bargnar.
yeah.
I didn't have a problem with that. As long as you kept it in character, you could badmouth and bash him all you wanted. It was perfectly acceptable. That was
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't be upset. If he he tries to punch you in the nuts, but it may happen, especially if he's drinking. If he slobbers on you, whatever.
If your name was Xanis,
Hey man, Xanis was good unless I was playing Ren, and then I hated his guts.
That's
but
right.
see,
That's what I was
it's
saying.
freaking Xanis the Menace.
You might try to punch him in the nuts.
That's right. So with that too, one of the things I was wrapping up here is slipping from one to the other is that the whole slippery slope argument, and you do actually have to be self-aware and willing to hear people out, but equally be able to give an example of why it is you feel it is or it isn't turning into favoritism, or your bias isn't actually coloring your judgment. And if you're trying to tell someone, you've got to be able to bring up those facts and not just be like, hey, you're showing favoritism towards these people because, well, no, you need to show because this happened here, and where we would got onto someone over here for doing the exact same thing, you didn't with this person. Why was that?
Yeah. Point out the indiscrepancy and give them a chance to explain why that may have happened before you decide that they're being biased.
Yeah, and that's why, facts and examples, they make the difference between an accusation and like an actual solution to what may be a problem. Whether it's screenshots or it's example or it's A/B comparison, apples to apples, oranges to orange, that kind of thing. If you're going to confront somebody about it too, you need to be able to back it up without just saying like, hey, this is something I think is happening. Well, okay, why is it happening? And if it is, that's fine, but you've got to be able to show it, and you've got to be able to prove it.
And it could be just a perfectly innocent misunderstanding.
And it could be. And that's why on the other side too, you've got to be able to be like, well, no, I did that. For me as an example, like at my work and my job or pretty much anything I do, there's very few times I do something without reason and understanding of exactly why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it. It's fairly rare. Like the way we plan out for example, the show and everything like that, it seems like a hodgepodge bullshit, which is partly just because I'm scatterbrained, but also it really is the way we've designed it from the ground up. And
because we have an outline we follow and everything.
There's outlines, there's scripts, there's we do a lot of work in between here, and that's
case in
point
point
has to be
how Ashton tripped me up because he edited my monologue for what we did.
No, I did that.
Oh, that was
you did that.
I actually don't edit other people's stuff. That's the girls in there putting things.
Yes, trolling
I did it
me.
Too. Yes,
wow,
yes,
that's a first on that.
Yeah, that's the girls. I just delete your entire advertisement.
That was a good one too.
You'll get to do it. You'll get to do it. I know.
I was going to give an example of an innocent instance
Go ahead.
that I had. We were in an event, and apparently somebody had said that this is how it's done. Well, I was doing multitasking, which is horrible to do at an event. So I completely missed what they said. And I asked in our guild chat, is this how we do stuff? Well, instead of, getting upset and taking it to somebody else, that person confronted me, and I was like, what? Wait a minute. And so I had actually took screenshots. I do screenshots now that Jazz has told me to do that. So I went back and I was looking and I was like, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I completely missed you saying that. I said I was writing a report on another screen while the event was getting ready to start. I did not mean anything by it. And she was like, well, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't against me. And I was like, oh no, I have nothing against you. And so it was completely an innocent misunderstanding. But I was happy that they brought it to me and talked to me about it instead of getting upset.
But to help with the convoluted story, basically someone said, hey, this is the stance we all need to be taking, like / pray, and she was doing the other thing. It scrolled up, she missed that, and she was like, oh hey, do we do / pray to do this? And because of the way it looked to the person that had said it originally, it's like you could see why they would be that like, oh, they're slamming me, or they're clearly not, they're being sarcastic, which it wasn't sarcastic, it was just lack of attention, in fucking chat scroll, right?
Yeah,
And
especially at events.
Yeah, and so instead of being like, hey, as I said earlier, they brought it. Tells like, hey, I already said that. Is everything okay? And they're like, oh no, I just missed it. It was so completely innocent. And that's the way you do those kinds of things.
And we were both perfectly fine. We actually started chatting afterwards. Just chatting.
And that's how you avoid something. It could have been a big blowout over literally like chat scroll, like because of chat scroll, but it wasn't because they handled it correctly the way it should have been.
Yeah, and I was super happy that she brought it to my attention. I was like, I did not mean to slight you. If I did, I'm so sorry, because I wouldn't intentionally do that to anybody.
Nah, you don't have that kind of time on your hands.
Oh, I try not to be that way.
So, all right. Excuse me. All right. So, well, with that, I think that about does it. I think we'll wrap this up. Everyone good?
Everyone's good.
All right.
I think so.
Okay. Well, I appreciate everybody tuning in here, RPMMO Radio. Of course, you can chat with us over at rpmradio.com/Discord during the week. If you guys have any show ideas or anything, we're not to the Mike Rowe Dirty Jobs thing where we're only going off of what you guys suggest, but we're still more than willing to talk about if there's certain subjects or topics you guys want to hear us go over, or if you've got anything in your role play that you want some advice on, things like that. We're perfectly willing to take it and see what we can do to help.
We've got some really good topics from you guys.
Yep, we've had a lot of good topics from the but listener feedback and things like that.
Yeah. Just the discussion on the Discord channel, you guys might go into discussion and we'll pick up a topic off of it.
Mm-hmm. It does happen.
So
go ahead. Like I said, go ahead and check us out over there. You can, again, always see us twitch.tv/RPM Radio every Saturday, 7 Central Time if you want to listen to us live, if you're able to, if your job allows, like Oaken did. If you want to call in during the show next week, you can do that as well. I have no idea what we're going to go over. We'll figure it out later. So, with that, I appreciate every single one of you. I appreciate all our donors. Appreciate our caller, Oaken. I'm Ash and Phoenix. And, of course, big shout-out to Jazz, Sib, Strafei, and our call screener, Rohanar and Yunfei. Appreciate you guys always and all the hard work you guys put into this. So, with that, tune in next time when I finally explain my bias against halflings.
Or will he?
Bye, guys.
Or do
good night,
I?
everybody.
Next time on RPMMO Radio. Good night, everybody. The thoughts and opinions of those on RPMMO Radio are just that and should not be taken as the gospel truth, but pretty close to it. Music, as always, is provided by Husky by the Geek. Visit him at youtube.com/HuskyByTheGeek to hear all his great video game rock covers and original music.